Hi, Midlands Metalheads Radio. We're backstage in the dressing room of King, and I'm pleased to say that we're chatting to Mr. Alan Nimmo from King.
Hello there.
How are you?
Yes.
On a very wet and windy Steelhouse at the moment.
Yes, I know. We were driving down through the sunshine from Derbyshire, and thinking all the time you'd see the clouds getting more grey and dark, thinking, oh, what are we going to drive into? And then you couldn't really describe what this is outside, which is hence the reason why we're indoors doing this. And I've got my wellies on.
So you did the festival yesterday and the day before. How
Yes,
did they go? All right?
very well. We were at Cambridge Rocks on Thursday night, which went down really, really well. It was very different weather to this today. It was very, very warm. And Derby Rocks last night, which was a great show. We had some great fun. It was great to see friends like Dan Reed Network went down a storm. Great fun. Yeah, it was wonderful.
I was looking forward to seeing them later on. So
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
see if he makes it.
Yeah. As regards the band, how do you first all get together?
Oh well, now I think you'll have to lie me down on a couch just to explain this one. Well, Lindsay and I, the bass player, we were sort of old buddies for a long time back, and we played together actually in my first band, the Nimmo Brothers, and Lindsay was the bass player in that band. Then we, when he left that, we always stayed in touch, and we always did things here and there with one another, and with always chatting about one day we were going to do it properly. And eventually we did. And then Wayne the drummer, met Wayne for the first time in about 1999, playing with various other bands, and Johnny as well. Johnny played with Wayne and played with Lindsay, and we've known each other just around the circuit. Coming from that blues background, you sort of it's very incestuous. There's not many players around, so you kind of get to know one another over the years, and you work on and off together over the years, and then we finally tried to get it settled into this.
Would you describe your sound as a particular sound, or is it?
I think
you've grown up with.
I think is, like I say, we come from a blues background, so as much as we are lovers of guys like B.B. King and Peter Green and Stevie Ray Vaughan and all that kind of stuff, I'm a huge classic rock fan. Grew up listening to Free, Bad Company, Thunder, early Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, all that kind of stuff. So I just found over the years, when I was writing songs, the more comfortable I got writing, the more those early influences came out.
Yeah.
So all that stuff I was listening to as a kid started all of a sudden coming out in my songs, and I'm listening to things. I'm going, I've nicked that from David Coverdale. I've nicked that from Paul Rodgers. I've nicked that from Danny Bowes.
I'm sure they can afford it as well. Do you ever get a chance to write songs when you're out on the road?
You have to.
Yeah.
I've got to. There's no other place to do it.
So you're going to do 2 or 3 while we're here.
We were driving here, and I was singing to myself, and I always get some funny looks, like from someone in the van, going, "What? What are you saying?" And I'm going, "Forget it. I'm just singing something. I've got an idea in my head." And I think because the tour schedule's so crazy for us all the time, with the way the music industry's panned out, we have to tour all the time. So you write on the hop all the time. You're writing in the van, on the road, sound checks. If you ever get in for rehearsals, you maybe try and knock something out. But I mean, thank goodness for these newfangled phones where you can just shout into them or play something, give you an idea of what you're doing. Because I'll come up with a dozen ideas at once, and I'll play them into the phone or I'll sing them into there, and then I'll go back to it. I can never finish. I can never take one and just stick with it. I'll jump back and forward to loads of different ideas. So I'll go back to my phone and I'll listen to this and go, what? What was I thinking? No idea what that is anymore. And at the time I must have had a great idea in my head, but then trying to decipher it's a bit of a nightmare. But that's how you write now. I mean, it's just because you're so busy.
Do you keep stuff on your phone that you're not going to use for the next record, maybe, and come back to it and use it?
Yeah, I mean, it's always the same. You've got stuff on there that you'll either use, you won't use. I mean, there's things on the last album that was maybe going to go on the previous album. It didn't, and all the way back, there was a couple of songs from Reaching for the Light that were getting rehearsed while we were recording the album before that, Stand in the Shadows album. Something tells you, like some instinct or whatever it is, I don't know, just says that's not for this one yet. Leave it alone, and then you do come back to it. Sometimes ideas get worked out and completely dropped. I mean, I found something on my phone the other day. It was I was rehearsing a few years back, and it was a song, and I'm thinking, well, we just completely ditched that idea completely, and I'd forgotten all about it. And I was thinking, I could maybe revisit that at some point. You never know.
Yeah, sure, right.
But it's good to have a vault of these things, isn't it? So you're never stuck.
Yeah. You've mentioned a few influences, if you like, with like Peter Green, the blues side of things. Is there any bands today that you get a chance to listen to and you think,
You know, it's so rare. You get to the festival season. It's the only time you get to see other bands if they happen to be on the same bill. You know, but I mean, you know, guys like the Temperance Movement. You know, obviously Phil Campbell's a mate of mine from Glasgow. Known him for years, and it's great to see Phil doing so well now. And I remember back years and years ago, he had a band called Wah Wah Jack, and they got this huge deal, and he sort of went from strength to strength there. He did a lot of acoustic stuff and solo stuff. The Tempest Movement thing is really, really going well for him, and it's great music, and he's one of the best singers. And when I hear him sing, it's painful. I think, how'd you do that, wee man? That's amazing. And how do you do that night after night as well? It's like, it makes me sore just listening to him. He's right up there, and it's fantastic. And so bands like that, you know, and you know, there's loads of up and coming bands as well, you know, that are all around there. But I mean, I do love it when we see one of my favourites are obviously Thunder, and when these guys are out and about, it's, you know, I remember it was the Winter's End Festival or the one just before that, and I remember watching all the bands. They were all great. Everything was a great weekend, great day. All the bands were cool, and then Thunder came on, and it was just everything went from here to here,
right?
You know, and one thing is that I really, really appreciate is these guys are at the top for a reason.
Yeah.
And this is, and I just wish everybody had the same attitude as well, just to learn from that. You know, that's how it's done. You know, that's how I view it. So there's these guys doing this after all this time, and they're still teaching us loads of lessons. You know, and you think you're doing all right in this game, you know.
Yeah.
But these guys are brilliant, and that's why they're, you know, the headline band everywhere they go, because they're worth it.
It's good to see them back because they split up a couple of times. And,
I mean, it's a difficult business, isn't it? You know, and it's very hard.
Two really strong albums.
Very, very strong, and I think they've done really well, and probably better than they did before, to be honest. You know, because they've moved up from the academy venues to the 3,000 seater, you know, concert venues. I mean, it's fantastic and really, really amazing, and long may it continue.
Anyway, nothing about them. I mentioned this before we started talking about the throat, about the problems that you had. Are they all cleared up now as such, or do you have to be careful?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd ever be as bold as to say it's all cleared up completely, because I think it's just a matter of readjusting your lifestyle and readjusting how you approach the job. You know, I've got to do rigorous warm-ups now and warm-downs, you know, which is something I didn't ever do. You know, I just, years gone by, you know, just as a youngster, you know, I used to show up in this kind of weather and just get on with it. But that catches up with you, and now it's a strict routine now of making sure that I'm vocally in good health, and I've got to get to bed early and all that kind of stuff, and I've got my wee Ochai, the new tea mug.
Suddenly I don't
with my tea with honey in it, and yeah, I mean the rock and roll's out the window.
Exactly, yes, mate. Yeah.
Like, you know, we're all still trying to pretend that we're all a bit mental and crazy and throwing TVs out the window with bottles of champagne, but it's really just, you know, sitting backstage with a nice cup of green tea.
Yeah, that's what I got over there.
Trying not to talk.
Yeah. Have you got anything else lined up for the rest of the year now then, as regards tours?
A few things coming up, yeah. Once we get through the festival season, which takes us between the UK, Holland, Norway, you know, Italy, everywhere else, we're going all over the place. We start a very hefty tour with Europe.
That's right.
So we kick off that in September, out in a couple of nights out in Ireland, and then we do the UK.
So you're in Cardiff, right?
Well, you know, another fantastic box to tick as we get to play at the Albert Hall. So, and then after that finishes in the UK, we go out to Europe with them, and we finish out in Madrid, sometime in October. And I think we've got it is a tough life, because we get at least 2 days off after that before we head up to Germany and do our own tour up there for another month. And Yeah, so and again, still writing along the process, along the way to try and get something recorded and try and get make some headway for the next album, which will be some point next year, hopefully early next year. Yeah. So yeah, it's all go really, and nice problems to have really.
Excellent.
Can't complain.
Ballant, thank you very much indeed.
Welcome,
for your time, mate.
My pleasure.
We finally found you in all this
thank you.
winds and weathers. Midlands Wellhouse Radio with Alan Nimmo from King at the very, very wet Steelhouse Festival. Where are we again? See if I can remember where I am this time.